to learn how to factor a polynomial. So let's get started. So the first thing you have to do is you have to choose a question. So what I did was I chose this 12x squared plus 5x minus 2 as my practice problem. So before we go into solving, what do they mean by factor? Factor is pretty much saying you want to convert this polynomial into the form that looks something like this. So parentheses term times parentheses term. So that's what's called factoring. So we're trying to convert this polynomial into that factored form. So how do we do that? I use this thing called a AC method. And this pretty much works like charm on every kind of polynomials if you want to factor and stuff. And if this way doesn't work out, that pretty much means it's a prime. Okay, so let's get started. So before we get into AC method here, we have to know that in front of what's x squared, it's called a. So the coefficient in front of x squared is a, and coefficient in front of x is called b. And the last one, the constant, is called c. And if you have learned quadratic formula, you have to know how to figure these out, right? So we have that a is equal to 12, and b is equal to 5, and c is equal to negative 2, right? So let's use AC method. So AC method, the reason we call AC is because we multiply a and c. So let's do that. What's 12 times negative 2? Yes, that's negative 24, right? So what we're trying to do here is we have to find the two numbers that multiply together to get negative 24, but when you combine those two, you get a plus 5. Okay, so there's two things we have to watch out for. So let's start with number 1. So 1 times 24, one of them has to be negative, but let's say I do this one negative. Can I get 5 if I combine these two? No, so this one's not it. How about 2 and 12? If I put negative here, I might get closer to 5, but not quite yet. So what we have to do is we have to move on to next one. How about 3 and 8? Ooh, that seems like it's gonna work. So one of them has to be negative, right? So negative 3 plus 8 becomes 5, so this works out. So I know that my AC method solution is these two. So now what we gotta do here is we have to break this middle term here into two different sections. So we have 12x squared, just bring it down, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to take this 5 and break it into these two, the one we just found. So negative 3x and plus 8x and minus 2, because we're going to bring this down just like that. Okay, so now we have 4 terms here. Our next step is to group them. So by mean is we're going to group 2 terms like that. Alrighty? And the third step here is we have to factor out the common numbers from each of these terms. So out of these two, notice I can pull out an x, right? Because x is in common. But also I can pull out on 3 because 3 goes into 12. So I'm going to factor out 3 and x at the same time. So I get 4x left over minus 1, like that. And from here I can factor out a 2. So I'm going to factor out plus 2. And I'm left over with 4x minus 1. Nice. So how do we know if we didn't make any mistakes? We can tell by looking at these two terms. If these two terms matches up, that means we're good, okay? So now the last step here is we have to combine these two into one, and we have to combine these two into one. So 3x plus 2 becomes our one term, and 4x minus 1 becomes our second term, and that is our answer. So yeah, that's how you use AC method to solve a factoring problem. Thanks.
I'm Michelle Fernandez from grade 8 St. Barhel. So now I am going to teach you how to factor quadratic trinomial by form of x squared plus bx plus c. It's my first given. So the last term is 15, 8 is the middle, and x squared is the first term. So first we have to find the multiplier of 15. So the multiplier of 15 is, so here is the multipliers of 15. So 1 times 15 is 15, 3 times 4 is 15, and 5 times 3 is 15. So now we have to find the, what is if you add the two numbers, the sum is 8. So we have to find, so 15 and 1 and 15 is, the sum is 16. 3 and 4 is, the sum is 7. But 5 and 3, the sum is 8. So get this 2. So first, open parentheses, the x, because x is the variable, the only variable of the given. So plus, of course, and 5, and x plus again, and 3. So that is the answer. X plus 5, x plus 3. This is the answer of this given. Plus is the operator. Given is x squared plus 5x plus 4. So we have to find the multiplier of 4, that is sum is 5. So this is the multipliers of 4. So 1 plus 4, 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 2 is 4. If when we sum, we have to get 5. So 1 plus 4 is 5. So this is already our answer. So this is not. So we have to arrange it. So open parentheses. Wait. Parentheses. Then x, because x is the variable. X. And then plus 1. And then x plus 4. That's our answer for this given. The third given, z squared plus 16z plus 48. These are the multipliers of 48. So 1 times 48 is 48. 2 times 24 is 48. 3 times 16 is 48. 4 times 12 is 48. And 6 times 8 is 48. So we have to find the sum of 16 here. So 1 plus 48 is 49. 2 plus 24 is 26. 3 plus 16 is 19. 4 plus 12 is 16. So we know the answer is 4 and 12. Here is this. z plus 4, and z plus 12. So that is the end of our lesson. Again, I am Theresa Michelle Fanes from grade 8 St. Bertha.
Smile over your shoulder. For a minute I was gonna go sober. I pulled you closer to my chest. Heard you ask me to stay over. I said I already.
Good day everyone, I'm John Gama from St. Bartle. So, for this video, I'm gonna teach you how to factor quadratic trinomial in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c by group S. So, let's get started. So, here is the first example. This first example is easy, but as we go along with this video, the examples will be getting harder. So, now, the first thing you need to do, you're gonna multiply the first number to and the last number. So 3 times 10. So 3 times 10 is equals to 30. And the second step you need to do is you're gonna find a number that if you're gonna multiply it, the answer will be 30, and if you're gonna add it, the answer will be 11. So here's the first number. 15 and 2. 15 times 2 is 30, but if you're gonna add it, it will be 17. And 17 is not the middle term, so this number is wrong. So the next number is 6 and 5. So 6 times 5 is 30, and if you're gonna add it up, it will become 11. So this number is the correct answer. Now, the second step, is you're gonna change the middle term to the numbers that you get. So, 3x squared plus 6x plus 5x plus 10. Now, the next step you need to do is you're gonna group it. So, group it, and now, the next thing you need to do, you will find what is the greatest common factor in each group. So, for the first group is 3x. So, 3x divided by 3x cubed square is x plus 3x divided by 6x is equals to 2. And now for the second group, what the DCF of this second group is 5. So 5 divided by 5x is equals to x plus 5 divided by 10 is equals to 2. So here it is, you get the GCF of each group. Now, the next thing you need to do is you're gonna find what's common in each group. So, the common is x plus 2 and x plus 2. So, you will do a parenthesis. So, x plus 2, and then the second parenthesis, you will put what is on the last number of each group, which is 3x and 5. So 3x plus 5, and this will be your final answer. So for this next example, it will be a little harder because the number are getting higher or getting bigger. So we're gonna do the same step that we did in our first example. We're gonna multiply the first number and the last number. So 9 times 44 is 396. And the next step, you're gonna find the two numbers that you're gonna multiply. The answer will be 396, and if you're gonna add it, here the answer will be 47. So here's the first number, 12 and 33. 12 and times 33 is 396, but if you're gonna add it up, the answer will be 45, and it is not the middle term, so this is not the correct number. The next number is 11 and 36. So 11 times 36 is equals to 396, and if you're gonna add it up, the answer will be 47. So this will be the correct number. Now let's proceed to the second step. So the second step is we're gonna change the 47 to the number that we get. So 9x squared plus 11x plus 36x plus 44. Now we're gonna group it. So here's the first group and here's the second group. Now we're already done grouping it. Now we're gonna find the GCF of each group. So the GCF on this is x, because 9 and 11, there is no GCF on them, because 11 can't be divided by some numbers. So x divided by 9x squared is 9x, plus x divided by 11x is equals to 11, plus the GCF of the second number, the second group, is 4. So 4 divided by 36x is 9x, plus 4 divided by 44 is 11. So there, you get the GCF of each group. Now the third step is you will find what is common in each group. So 9x plus 11x. So we're gonna put it up here. 9x plus 11, and the second parenthesis will be the one that is inside, which is x plus 4. So here is your final answer. For this last example, it will be the hardest, because since we're dealing with negative, so the answer will be negative 2, and the C is bigger. So we're just gonna do the same step that's like what we did in our first and second example. So first we're gonna multiply the first number and the last number. So 3 times negative 240 is equals to negative 720. Now we're gonna do is to find the number that you will multiply and the answer will be 720 and you're gonna add it, the answer will be 29. So here's the first number. Negative 36 times positive 20. So negative 36 times positive 20 is equals to negative 720. And if you're gonna add it up, the answer will be negative 16, which is wrong because our middle term is 29. So let's move on to the second number. So the second number will be negative 45 times positive 10 times positive 16. So negative 45 times positive 16 will be negative 720. So, and if you're gonna add it up, the answer will be negative 39. So this will be our correct number. So we're gonna move on to the next step, which is we're gonna change the middle term to our to the correct number. So 3x squared minus negative 45x plus 16x minus 240, and we're gonna group it. So here's the first group and here's the second group. So we're gonna find the GCF. So the GCF for this will be 3. So 3x. So 3x divided by 3x squared is equals to x, and minus 45x divided by 3x will be 15. So plus the GCF of the second group is 16. So 16 divided by 16x will be x, minus 16 divided by 240 will be 15. So here it is. You get the GCF of each group. So we're gonna find what is common in each group. So that will gonna be the x minus 15. So we're gonna write it up. So x minus 15, and the second parenthesis will be the numbers that are outside in the group. So 3x plus 16. So this will be your final answer. That will be all. Thank you. I hope you learned something in my video.
What you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to